Part 1. The Gaze. Midnight. A layer of cold, misty drizzle falls like thin silver threads across the sky. The wind whispers through cracks in the stones, howls long, then chokes off among the moss-covered graves. The church clock strikes 12 times, but the sound does not ring clear. It fractures, flickers, as if consumed by the thick walls of the ancient cemetery. In the hush following the bells, another sound emerges, a faint, mournful wail, as if echoing from another realm. It is neither a dog's cry nor an owl's call, but like a gust of wind carrying a soul, gasping around a chip-winged stone angel. At the cemetery gate, where two black wooden doors stand closed, a lynx appears. It stands motionless, its whole body dark with rain, its form blurred beneath the dim moonlight. Its thick fur, grayish-brown and soaked through, drips onto the cold stone. The characteristic tufts on its ears stand erect, twitching in rhythm with falling raindrops. Its eyes glow like embers, fixed on the bell tower, where a small candle has just been lit in a narrow window. That night, Father Michael, the priest of the old church, is still awake. He lights the candle to pray, a habit that soothes his loneliness whenever the clock tolls midnight. From above, he looks down over the cemetery, and for a moment, his eyes meet the lynx's gaze. That gaze sends a shiver through him. It carries no wildness, no fierce predatory glint. Instead, it holds something else, a quiet plea, a silent supplication that crosses the boundary between species. In its mouth, the lynx holds something small. When it lowers its head, it gently drops it onto the cold stone steps. It lands with a soft sound. A crumpled piece of paper, its edges stained with blood, smeared by rain. From that distance, no one could discern the message it bears, but the presence of that paper in the mouth of a wild creature, at the stroke of midnight, at an ancient cemetery, is enough to sow a deep unease. At the same moment, another sound echoes, freeze-slow taps, ringing from the wooden door of the chapel. Not quick, not loud, but steady, like part of a ritual. Then silence. The wind stops, the rain stops, and only Father Michael's pounding heart remains. He looks down and sees the lynx still there, unmoving. It waits. The creature's silhouette merges with the mist, its eyes shining through the thick darkness. The scene seems like an omen, carefully arranged. A question stirs in the shepherd's mind. Why does a lynx stand waiting in front of the cemetery at exactly midnight? What note does it bring? And why does that gaze seem to plead for human understanding? That question, like a thin blade, cuts into the night, revealing a secret waiting to be unveiled. And from that moment, no one in the old village could ever return to the calm life they once knew. Part 2. The Trembling Paper. Father Michael stands silently at the window frame, the toll of 12 bells still echoing in his chest. He tells himself this might be a hallucination, a result of sleepless nights where one's mind conjures ghosts from the darkness. Yet the triple knock, measured, resolute, then silence, still reverberates in his heart like an invitation he cannot ignore. In the cold rain, a lynx stands before the cemetery threshold, motionless, its bright eyes reflecting the chapel's light. Emma arrives with the hurricane lamp. Its trembling yellow glow reveals the drenched creature's form. Her hair, soaked, clings to her cheek. Her face is half trusting, half doubtful. Maybe it is hungry, she whispers, offering an explanation, though even she senses this defies the instincts of a hunting animal. Lynxes are elusive, retreating into deep forests. They never approach a chapel's threshold in rain and wind. Yet here it is, bowing down, nudging something small toward them with its snout, a piece of paper. Father Michael kneels, his aged hands trembling as he picks it up. The paper is crumpled, drenched, its edges stained dark red. On one corner clings a thread of sky-blue wool, a strand as fine as hair, like the type used to knit clothes or a child's scarf. This minute detail halts Emma. Her hand grips the lamp so tightly her knuckles turn white. In an instant, she senses something beyond any simple explanation. This is no random scrap. The yellow light illuminates jagged handwriting. "Forgive us," under the angel's feet. The letters shake, skewed as though carved out from a dying breath. Emma repeats the words in a rough voice. "Under the angel, which statue?" There are many angels in the cemetery. A trumpet-blowing angel, a broken-winged one, a head-bowing one by the rose bush wall. Or is that referencing a grave? The question hangs in the night, stirring unnamed fear between them. Father Michael clasps the paper. Each letter is like a blade peeling back memories he thought long buried. The tilted F, the extra hook on the G, the dot over the I shifted northeast. All strangely familiar. He's seen this handwriting before on confession notes slid through the confessional's wooden slot. A man who came on Thursday evenings, hoarse voice, eyes never daring to meet his. That image returns, chilling his hand, tightening his chest. "Forgive us," he whispers, lips trembling as he repeats the words. It is no longer a general plea from some anonymous soul. It bears a personal mark, familiar, painful. Those words are the key to unraveling a veil of memory never fully uncovered. Emma sees his expression shift, but she says nothing, only stands, her lamp casting light over his shaking hands. Outside, the Lynx remains still. It no longer cares about the paper. Its gaze is fixed on the crucifix over the priest's chest. That gaze is strange, neither fierce nor gentle, but clear as a wordless message. Father Michael senses, with the deep intuition of a shepherd, that it is not merely delivering a message, it is pointing to the one meant to interpret it, and that person is him. Emma lowers her voice. "Father, maybe someone needs help. If the message is real, we have to investigate." Father Michael nods softly, as if accepting a mission. His finger brushes the crucifix, still trembling not from fear but from knowing he stepped across a line with no return. He opens the small prayer book tucked into his robe and reads silently. "Grant me the courage to follow this clue. Grant me the humility not to judge before I understand." The wind sweeps through the cemetery, rain smacking the wooden door. In that moment, Emma feels as though the entire place bows to listen, from old tombstones to the broken-winged stone figure. The Lynx takes a step back, waiting. Father Michael lights another candle on the altar. The second flame flickers on the wrinkles of his face. "For the one who wrote it," he whispers, as though sending the shortest letter of his life. Then three silhouettes, a priest, a cemetery keeper, and a wild creature, stand together facing the cold rain. Before them, the path to, under the angel's feet, opens, and the secret trembling on that piece of paper becomes a guiding flame through the dark night. Part 3. Footsteps leading into the night. The next night, rain still cloaks the ancient cemetery like a relentless curtain. The clock's hands have just reached 12 o'clock when Emma lights the lantern once more. And Father Michael stands silently at the threshold, waiting subconsciously. Then, the familiar silhouette emerges. The Lynx returns, radiating a solemn, frightening presence. It stands at the entrance to the war graves, its fur soaked, drops falling into the mottled mud. Its gaze meets the priest again, as if to ensure he is still following. Then it takes a few steps, turns back, pauses, its deep gaze a silent reminder, "Follow." Emma glances at the priest, tension etched on her face. Together they step out the porch, letting the rain pour over them. The lantern light casts sharp footprints of the Lynx in the mud. They stretch like a string of dark threads leading deeper into the cemetery, where darkness solidifies into a wall of stone. The sensation is so uncanny that Father Michael's heart races. Both terrified and compelled, he knows there is no choice but to follow. The beast leads them past cold tombstones, past rows of ancient graves shimmering with green moss. Rain lashes their faces, the taste of salt and bitterness like tears. Finally, it stops before a thicket of wild rose brambles, leaves thick with thorns that conceal a hidden corner. Emma shines the light through, and they both see a forgotten statue of an angel. One wing long broken, the body streaked with moss and lichen, the bowed face looking less angelic and more like a sad witness to buried sins. Beneath the stone base, the earth has recently sunk, forming dark depressions. Emma kneels, her hand probing in the mud. When her finger touches something hard, she taps lightly, but clinking sound echoes. She lifts out an old pocket watch. It's silver scratched. On the cover, 2 initials are engraved. LM. Their hearts skip a beat. Emma looks at the priest, her face pale in the trembling light. It could only be Lucas Miller, the 10-year-old boy who has been missing for 3 days. In that instant, another sound rises from beneath the ground, and both freeze. 3 knocks, even, clear, as if a small hand is desperately trying to send a signal. Emma presses her ear to the earth, then leaps back, eyes wide. Someone is down here. Father Michael's heart pounds. The words on the paper, under the angel's feet, echo like thunder. The boy might still be alive. The lantern beam sweeps outward over the grave's edge, where a sky blue ribbon is caught in tree roots. Soaking wet and muddy, Emma trembles as she picks it up. Fingers clenched tight, she recognizes that color. Lucas always wore that ribbon in his hair or on his shirt. But childhood habit, all the pieces fall into place. The boy is buried somewhere right beneath this statue. At that moment, a beam of harsh white light cuts through the rain. A deep, firm voice calls out, "What are you doing here?" Sheriff Carter appears, his long coat drenched, his flashlight sweeping across the muddy ground. He sees the Lynx footprints, carved with clarity like sculpture. Then the light rests on the statue's base, scratches, 3 horizontal lines joined by a distorted circle. Carter frowns and steps forward. Father Michael freezes. A memory snaps awake. That symbol of an ancient rite of atonement. The 3 wounds of humankind wrapped in an unending circle. An image from the monastery's books. Once thought legend, now etched into the mossy stone precisely where the boy disappeared. A chill runs down his spine. Who carved these marks? And why do they appear alongside Lucas's watch? That night, back in his room, Father Michael cannot close his eyes. Feeling driven to the brink, he opens his cabinet and retrieves old confession logs. He searches for the section marked LM, the pages tied to a man who confessed each Thursday evening, a hoarse voice and eyes that never left the shadows. But when he opens it, he is stunned. The entire entry has been torn out, jagged edges as if ripped away with violent force. Father Michael drops into the chair, burying his face in his hands. All floods back, the blood-stained note, Lucas's watch, the ribbon, the knocks from underground, and that familiar handwriting from the confessional's darkness. His vow to keep the secret collides with the plea for redemption. He feels torn, heart dread of uncovering old transgressions, heart driven to follow the beast's footprints to save a small, living soul. The next night, he and Emma return to the cemetery, this time joined by Sheriff Carter. The rain hammers down, wind howls through the yews. Then the Lynx appears again. It positions itself before an unnamed grave at the far end, its silhouette erect like a living wall. It growls lowly, the rumble ominous. Its eyes flare fiercely, more intense than ever before. It is no longer guiding them. It is guarding a truth humans are not yet ready to reach. Emma shrinks back, clenching Sheriff Carter's arm, yet Father Michael, despite trembling knees, steps forward. He knows that here, this final unnamed grave, is the linchpin of the mystery. The path he has walked since that first night, from the beast's gaze to the trembling note, now converges at this point, and he knows that when this ground opens, it will reveal not only Lucas's fate but also the confession buried long ago. Part 4. The Buried Confession. Rain pounds the stone roof of the cemetery, each droplet striking the mossy surface like thousands of urging fingertips. The Lynx growls low, standing guard before the final unmarked grave, its gaze igniting the darkness. Father Michael steps forward slowly, clutching the crucifix at his chest. Emma trains the lantern's beam on the ground. The mud is freshly collapsed, the surface still giving underfoot. Sheriff Carter signals both of them to step back, then takes out his shovel and bangs it sharply against the stone base. The hollow reverberation shatters the silence, as if awakening slumbering spirits. A fissure opens beneath the base of the broken-winged angel. Behind it, an ancient tomb cover is revealed. Its latch rusted. Carter strikes it with force. The lid flies open and a putrid breath escapes, carrying the stench of earth decay and metallic rust. Their flashlights flicker down into a narrow stone stairway descending into pitch darkness. They climb down, hearts pounding with every step. The walls are cold, damp stone veined with moss. The soil appears freshly disturbed. At the bottom of the tomb, the flashlight reveals a small chamber where earth has fallen in, blocking the exit, and curled in the darkness is a small form. It is Lucas. He is alive. His eyes are tightly shut, his lips pale, breathing faint and shallow. His clothes are caked with mud. The blue ribbon has slipped loose, but his tiny hand still clutches something, the unfinished blue neck scarf that the priest recalls from the note. Emma gasps and runs forward to embrace him, while Father Michael collapses in tears that merge with the rain. But near Lucas is a soaked cloth bundle. Sheriff Carter unwraps it. Inside is a crumpled, water-blurred letter and a silver rosary. Emma recognizes it instantly, the rosary of Lucas's mother, who died last year in an unexplained accident. Illuminated by the flashlight, the letter's trembling lines emerge. It is her final message, written in frail, fading script, expressing her anguish and an unsaid secret. Before Father Michael can breathe, Carter's light shifts to the collapsed earth wall behind. He stops dead. A rugged arm protrudes from the debris. A large, weathered hand grips the blood-stained note exactly matching the one the Lynx delivered. They dig further and uncover the body of a man, Lucas's father. He lies broken under the weight of stones, eyes closed, face resigned yet peaceful. Dirt on his lips shows he descended first, attempting to save his son, only to become trapped himself. Father Michael staggers. He realizes that the shaky handwriting on the note belongs not to Lucas, but to the man beneath them, his father, and the words, "Forgive us," were not a confession hiding guilt, but an appeal for pardon, for himself, for his lost wife, and for the child left behind. The priest recalls faint confessions from long ago, voices trembling in the confessional, tears unshed. The father never hid his sin, he sought redemption. In his last act, he chose to sacrifice himself to reclaim life for his son. The Lynx suddenly leaps forward, clawing at the still shifting earth where Emma has not looked. It slashes the mud, revealing a narrow opening. Emma instantly understands. She slips in, and with Carter's help, they pull Lucas free. The boy is as light as a branch, utterly cold, but a faint pulse remains. Father Michael presses Lucas to the cold floor, hands trembling as he presses on his chest, voice raised in desperate prayer, each word cutting through his soul. "May the Lord forgive the lost. May this child live." Lucas chokes, coughing up mud and water, his eyes fluttering open. Emma bursts into tears, clutching him tightly. Carter stands upright, eyes glistening, as he lifts the father's body. In his hand, the stained note remains, the words, "Forgive us," blurred by rain. Father Michael collapses to his knees, hiding his face in trembling hands. Tears mingle with the rain as he mourns, relief that Lucas survived, and anguish at realizing he misunderstood the truth. The man beneath was no coward, but a soul pleading for mercy, a father who dared to sacrifice everything for his child. Pride had blinded him. In that moment of stillness, the church bells ring out unexpectedly. 12 tolls. Though no one pulls the rope, the sound echoes as though from above, a response from another realm. The Lynx lifts its head, its eyes glisten with moisture as it gazes toward the bell tower. In the rainy dawn, its form blurs, silently fading back into the forest. Never looking back, the climax ends in the echo of bells, the hush of grief, and a prayer swallowed by rain. Part 5. The Light After the Rain. Dawn breaks. A blanket of white mist covers the cemetery. The rain has stopped, leaving behind the earthy scent of wet soil. Lucas lies on the wool blanket Emma hastily spread out, his eyes slightly open, his breath faint but growing steadier. In his hands is the pocket watch engraved with the initials LM, as if cradling the last remnant of his father. Father Michael sits beside him, placing the silver rosary of his mother on his chest, whispering, "You will know the beautiful truth of your father's courage." Emma weeps quietly, holding the boy tight as if to cling to the fragile life just reclaimed. Sheriff Carter stands still, his gaze resting on the father's body laid beneath the arch of the bell tower. He gently retrieves the blood-smeared paper from the man's hand and folds it carefully. "Forgive us," he murmurs, like a prayer that never truly belonged to him. At the cemetery gate, the Lynx appears one last time. The morning light reflects in its eyes, glistening like drops of water. It does not enter, only stands there, watching. Emma steps forward, bows slightly, and whispers, "Thank you." The creature blinks slowly, then turns away, vanishing into the forest. No sound, only fading footprints in the mist. Father Michael stands beside Emma, his voice low like a confession. "Sometimes God sends his messengers in fur and claws." Emma nods, her eyes still fixed on where the Lynx disappeared. Maybe it is the forest's gravekeeper. The ambulance arrives, carrying Lucas away in silent farewell. The boy is placed on a stretcher, still clutching the pocket watch. As the vehicle rolls through the gate, the creak of the hinge sounds softly, like a goodbye. Father Michael watches, feeling lighter, but one question still lingers. How did the beast know to come to the chapel? And not exactly 3 times. He does not search for the answer. He only knows that after the storm, the cemetery gleams as if it has been cleansed. On the base of the broken-winged angel statue, the mist has formed a long streak of light, like a faint smile, and in the hearts of the living, the bell from the night before still echoes, a reminder that sometimes salvation comes from where no one expects. Part 6. The Silent Messenger. The long night has passed, but its echo still clings to the cemetery like a layer of mist that will not lift. On the chapel steps, Father Michael stands silent for a long time, his eyes fixed on the deep woods where the lynx disappeared. He realizes that some lessons do not come from books, nor from endless hours of prayer, but from a wild creature bearing a crumpled piece of paper and a pleading gaze. The story of that night has become a lasting mark in the hearts of those who witnessed it. A lynx led the way, a father sacrificed himself, a child was saved, and a priest relearned the simple meaning of humility. All of it became one unspoken hymn, echoing louder than any bell from the highest tower. Emma often said the lynx was the gravekeeper of the forest. Even Sheriff Carter, as practical as he was, no longer tried to deny it. As for Father Michael, he only smiled. Sometimes, salvation comes from where we least expect, from creatures we thought were strangers. That afternoon, the cemetery carries an unusual stillness, not the heavy stillness of a burial ground, but a rare peace, like the quiet after a storm has passed and left behind a streak of light. And in that silence, if one listens closely enough, they might still hear a faint echo, the church bell blending with the sound of the forest after rain. In the space between those two, between bell and breeze, between man and beast, lies a message profound. Empathy knows no boundaries. A wild animal can be a messenger. A sinner can become the final hero of his story. And a priest, in the eye of the storm of doubt, can find his faith once again in the eyes of a creature. The story closes on a single image, the final look from the lynx before it turned away. That gaze is no longer here, but it remains in the minds of those who saw it, a soft yet unwavering light, reminding us that sometimes the truest messengers are those who never speak a word.